Hello, my name is Martin Schultz, and I will be giving a presentation today, and I will take a quick second to introduce my audience. We got Jody, Sierra, and Netta. Thank you. Alright. There's a good chance that each one of you owns or has owned a smartphone. That being said, I would bet that you have heard of the company Samsung. Samsung is a major competitor with Apple, another leading smartphone. They have a high reputation or image to uphold, and if they want to remain in competition with such a high caliber company like Apple, it's important that crisis is handled right. When crisis hits, communication to the public should be done adequately. Samsung had a crisis when its product, the Note 7, started bursting into flames shortly after its release. The following shows or will explain some tactics during the image repair. The goal of this presentation is to understand image repair theory through analyzing the Samsung Note 7 crisis and the crisis communication tactics. In the following, I will be discussing image repair theory, its application of Samsung Note 7's case, and giving recommendations for other organizations based on the information in the case and image repair theory. Image restoration theory is an outline of strategies that can be employed to restore an image in an event where reputation has been damaged. It is an approach for attempting to understand personal or organizational crisis situations. Like I mentioned just now, the theory is most useful when the organization's image is in need of being repaired. And according to Benoit, these focus on identifying options rather than prescribing solutions. This is off of the grounds of apologia, accounts, and focus. The strategies or options include denial, invading responsibility, reducing offensiveness, corrective action, and mortification. In early September 2016, after the release of the Note 7, it was reported that several of these phones were exploding into flames out of nowhere, and for no reason at all. These things quickly became a worldwide hazard. The phones were exploding in people's pockets or even on airplanes, which led to a ban in several of the airports. This was a major hazard and a major crisis for Samsung. Eric Schiffer, the brand strategy expert and chairman of Reputation Management Consultants, stated this: if the Note 7 is allowed to continue, it could lead to the single greatest act of self-destruction in the history of modern technology. Initially, it was unsure of what even caused these things to explode. Image restoration theory applies to the case because Samsung's image was damaged by this continuing to occur, and because of image restoration theory helps reputation rebuilding by strategically looking at the crisis to help explain an appropriate message to its audience. The organization took a quick approach to responding to its crisis. In the early stages of September, they got a message out to Hong Kong telling the people sorry for the occurrence of their phones, but they were operating on a different battery, and they were sure that the faulty ones were not in the phones, and they can rest assured that their phones are fine. This became an issue quickly because several of the phones were reported to have had this happen to them, over 500 to be exact. The next day, Samsung had to give an apology and take a step back from what they had just stated previously, after all, because they did have the problem. They were affected. So while Samsung was quick to get a message out, it was not truthful, and that can be an issue. We want to make sure that everything that is being said is truthful and has been very critically analyzed. The organization's crisis response strategies include bolstering, mortification, reducing offensiveness, and corrective action. Samsung used bolstering by telling Hong Kong that their phones were okay and that their product was still of lasting value, which was a positive idea or a reminder of who they were as a company, which is what bolstering is. DJ Cao, the head of Samsung's mobile division, gave a 50-minute presentation. He began by using mortification, where the accused admits responsibility and asks for forgiveness. He leads his presentation with an apology. He states, "We believe that it is the first step to regain your trust. It is important to provide you with a thorough understanding of this cause and of incidents, and to plan to take preventative measures." Next, he provides us with corrective measures being taken by adding 700 engineers to prevent this kind of reoccurrence. They also implemented an 8-step process to validate themselves for the future success of the global market. Letting people know that they are still a reliable company to purchase smartphones from was very important. Overall, I believe Samsung's apology was sincere, but they were not fully clear with the correct details. Where it is important to be swift and quickly get a message out to the stakeholders, it's more so important that the information that is being given is correct and truthful. Now I'd like to talk about the key takeaways from analyzing the case and give some recommendations for the other organizations. My first key takeaway is to be truthful, to carefully analyze the information at hand, and to give a response to the audience that is meaningful and sincere. My second key takeaway is to use mortification if the blame is truly on yourself, and do that fast. People relate more and are more forgiving to a company when the responsibility for the actions is being taken by themselves. My third key takeaway is to have a corrective action ready to take that is going to boost the morale and the reputation of the organization. People like to see what process and steps are taken to be better before. If bolstering can be done in any way, then use that strategy. It is one of the best strategies to remind the audience of the previous good times and the things that they've done right in their prior life. If a crisis were to occur, I believe that the utility of image restoration theory and these strategies is the correct way to analyze information of the crisis and to be strategically sound in giving people an adequate message. The utilization of this theory helps to focus on reacting to an audience in hopes that the strategies used would repair the company's image. Maintaining a favorable reputation is the key goal, and these guided response strategies are nothing but helpful. And lastly, I would like to reinstate my thesis that the goal of this presentation was to understand image repair theory through analyzing the Samsung Note 7 crisis and their crisis communication tactics. And I hope I did just that. Thank you.